Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course I am joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary,
and my cheerful co-host,
Rebekah,
and my sassy co-host,
Madison.
The Avengers have finally assembled. All 4 of us are on one podcast. Let's talk about every single New Era season and definitively rank them until next time when we definitively rank them again. So we're going to rank all 9 New Era seasons. Hopefully it won't get confusing. I will put pictures on screen along with the logo of the season just in case you forget what season we're talking about, because they all take place in Fiji and they're all just numbered 40 something. So that can get a little confusing. If you're on Spotify, that sucks. But if you're on YouTube and Patreon, welcome. You have a visual medium to help you out. That's what I will say. All right, so let's start with our first season, Survivor 41. A year and a half after Winners of War ends, comes the season that dared to push new boundaries. Shorter seasons, COVID got in the way, can't blame them for that. But they did decide now is the time to stand on a soapbox and tell everyone how to live their life. The first thing they did, drop guys. Second thing they did was make social issues the very important part of a show cram-packed full of advantages and twists and turns in only 42-minute episodes. It's insanity. You try to go back and watch it now, it does not hold up, in my opinion. To me, this is the worst season. I don't like to say my rankings up front, but this is the only season I'm going to do it because it just is never going to get better. Not even the worst other seasons in the New Era can be worse than this one. So 41 for me is a trash fire. Very little redeeming quality to it. Has complete people to this day still comment on social media and on YouTube, almost like even on Jeff's most recent podcast just yesterday, top comment, come on in guys. Like top comment by likes. It's craziness. So Mary, what do you think about Survivor 41?
I agree with you. I also have 41 at the bottom of my list for all the reasons you stated. I just was not prepared after the high of Winners at War, even though it was a major gap between them. Of all the new things that they were going to attempt to do and how most of them just fell completely flat. And we can't, ignore the fact that Erica, the winner, was just completely a no one for most of the season. So yeah, it was not fun to watch the first time. I have not ever in my wildest dreams thought, let's put that back on TV for any reason, to rewatch is what I'm saying. So yeah, it just wasn't fun. Nothing about it was fun. It was a bunch of new things that they were trying that didn't really work, that were just okay.
Well, I have one word to say about this season, and it is hourglass. I think that's enough said. And the fact that Erica's the one who did it, I'm not going to sit here and discredit her win. But the hourglass genuinely messed this whole season up for me. And spoiler, it's also my least favorite.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what everyone's been saying, it's definitely my least favorite as well. I think, it's fair for a show that's been on as long as Survivor. I know that they kind of unexpectedly, because of COVID, had to, make a lot of adjustments and had to, try and throw a bunch of things at the wall to see what sticks. But it is just unfortunate that so many things fell so flat. And I remember watching it for the first time I don't know if I actually watched it live, but I think I did watch it in 2021 at some point. So it's still we're all coming off of COVID, there's no new media, everything's slowly coming back. And even with that context of not having as much content to consume, I was still man, I don't know if I want to finish watching this. It was so boring. And just so, not even boring, but just confusing, I guess is a better word, because there was just so much going on.
The hype was palpable after Winners at War.
I mean, yeah, it's just never a season that I've wanted to go back and rewatch, I guess. And no memorable characters really. I don't know. Yeah, just not my favorite season.
I think confusing is a really good word for it, because I remember there was just so much introduced at once that I couldn't keep up with it. There was the do or die twist. There was the hourglass. We started journeys. I think this was the season they had to say the random phrases too, right?
Oh, they started that here, yeah.
So there was just a lot.
And even the game within the game or whatever they called that, which was like some of these I think could have been interesting ideas, but it was so much all at once that I couldn't keep up with anything.
And also Shot in the Dark. I mean, just literally everything.
Oh, remember the one episode where they hid the Beware Vans right by the fire because they're like, God forbid people don't find it this episode.
Yeah.
No.
They put it right by the fire pit. I mean, on the fire pit. It was insanity. And also, the winner, they did her dirty. I feel like Erica's story is the worst of the new era because they gave her nothing. They're like, let's just not focus on her for 10 episodes. Except for episode 4 during a challenge where people are going to narrate how they want to get her out because she's such a big threat. And we're like, who? What?
Truly.
Ugh, craziness. Yeah. Madison, you started watching Survivor with Winners at War. So you're part of the crowd that basically, I mean, there was a lot of hype after Winners at War, and there's a year and a half. The show went on Netflix for a few seasons. There was just so much hype coming out of Winners at War and it being on Netflix and all these new fans. People are like, 41's gonna be my first season live I'm gonna watch. That was the season I got the most comments of like, this is the first season live I'm gonna watch. I get them every season, but that was definitely the most. Talk about just dropping the ball. Too bad they numbered the seasons because they really could have aired 42 first. And people, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about 42 here soon. I wonder if 42, if it was edited the way it was edited and it aired first, if people would have felt the same. People are like, well, 42 is pretty good. They dropped the ball on 41. But, you know, like backwards. Like 42 is 41, 41's 42. I don't know. Just craziness.
Yeah, it was an interesting first live season. And this is, you know, at this point, this is part of Madison lore. Obviously, I started with Winners at War. Part of that, well, it was what was live, and it was the pandemic, and I was at home. But in my friendship with Wesley, of course, I wanted to spite him, and he hated that was my first season because it spoiled so much.
I still do.
So
incredible.
After that, I of course watched Heroes versus Villains, and then All Stars, and all these other returner
Cambodia,
seasons.
And then Caramelin, and then Blood versus Water.
I truly wanted to spite Wesley. That was the fuel to my fire. However, if you think about it, though, just like practically, those seasons were fantastic. So the idea that my husband and I had of what Survivor was and then to watch 41 live really tanked it. But we did stay committed, obviously. I'm still here. But it was such a shift. And it was sad because there's great bones to Survivor, but 41 did not have them.
I think that, well, Rebekah really said it well when she said it was confusing. And I do think it is because they're trying to do the new era. So Wesley, you said if they'd done season 42 first. I think either way, whatever their first new era season was kind of destined to be a little rough because of all the new things they're trying to introduce. And there's just going to be kinks you have to work out. So maybe they were just like, let's throw everything at the wall, see what sticks, see what's good, refigure our editing, you know, and all this stuff. It's just unfortunate because I think no matter, like I said, if it was 41 or 42, it just took them time to kind of figure out where they were even going. So unfortunately, like 41 just suffered no matter what, no matter all the other.
I don't think it can be understated that it was also, they lost so much time between season 40, which was 39 days, and then dropping down to 26 days. Like, yeah, because, you know, if they were trying to incorporate all of these new twists and turns, but they had an extra 2 weeks to do it, I think it would have felt very different than it did with, like, cramming all of this into also a shorter period of time. So I think that had a big impact, too.
While simultaneously telling the audience, this is the most dangerous game ever. Also, this is the only season we're not giving anyone any food, which is not the truth. The first time they did it was season 4. Survivor had, like, openly stated on the show, we've forgotten our own history, as who just said it that Survivor had to work out the kinks? Because why do they have to work out the kinks? There's no kinks to work out. Survivor, this is their 41st season. They know how it works. The only thing they had to work out the kinks on were maybe doing too much in the season. But that wasn't the whole thing, though. That wasn't the only issue they had. That was just one of so many issues.
But if they didn't, I was the one that said work out the kinks. If they didn't try something new, would we still have Survivor? I mean, 40 was amazing, but at some point, like, that's 40 seasons. At some point, you have to, I think, make some changes.
There was too many new things.
Yes, I agree. There were too many new things. But if they did not do anything, if they sat on their hands, would we still have Survivor? I don't know. Even though it was really bad, people were talking about Survivor, I think. I could be wrong.
This is a case where I think bad publicity has done them. Because as I said, there's to this day, 9 seasons later, people are still referencing 41 negatively.
It was pretty bad. It could have been better. I'm not saying it. Obviously, we all agree it's like the worst one. But I'm just saying, I think that if you want to rebrand, hopefully do better than this. But there's going to be some issues to work out when rebranding.
All right. Well, 41. I know I've said it's ranked last. Mary, where do you have it ranked?
Last, yes.
Rebekah?
Last.
Madison?
I mean, it was definitely my favorite, so first. But just kidding, no, last.
Whoa.
Down in the description, you'll see all of our rankings for all the seasons, and also an overall ranking, combining all of our rankings together to give a more definitive list. But just keep in mind that only one of those ranking lists matters, and it's up to you, the listener, to decide which one that is. All right, well, let's move on. Our next season was season 42. Season 42, Survivor 42, filmed not but 2 weeks after Survivor 41, features a season, and I said this every single time we do these rankings, and I'll stand behind it, because just even going back, I was watching a couple episodes today for a video I was working on, and I'm like, yep, this season, they did a lot of work to make this an okay season instead of what it probably was, which was 41.2, 41.5, 41 part 2. That's really what it was going to be until they went back. So I can only imagine the stressful time they had between 41 and 42 airing. The people who were working on it, like, they did not have a good Christmas that year, is what I'm saying. They were probably stressing hard fixing 42. 42 tries to right the wrongs of 41 by basically pushing aside, like, while there's still all the excessive stuff, they made a concentrated effort to edit it in a way where that stuff is not as emphasized, despite the fact that people are still saying stuff at the challenges, despite the fact that all these advantages exist, and the fact that basically nothing has changed for 41 is exactly the same, and Jeff's loud and proud about it. Whoever's producing / editing the show clearly got the message that people did not like 41. And all the social issues that you heard about 42 were all behind the scenes. None of them were on the show, whereas on 41, they were on the show, they were in the Ponderosa videos, they were everywhere at 41. 42, it's all like, you have to like listen to podcasts, hear people rumors about it, you know what I mean? So 42, in my opinion, was a highly re-edited season. It was not how it was originally planned to be, and I think it's a better season because of it. Doesn't mean it's a good season or a great season, but it's a better season because of it. That's my personal opinion of 42. Madison, what do you think about 42?
So 42, I mean, it was a step up from 41, but I think because of what you just said, I feel like they worked overtime to change how they edited it. Obviously, it was a carbon copy in terms of structure, which for me did not sit right. Again, coming from, the pandemic new Survivor fan who watched a bunch of seasons that had all of these themes and all of these great things. It was just, I don't know. It's what you said. It was just okay. And why was it just okay? That is because it was a carbon copy.
I mean, I agree. I think that this season, to me, there is a pretty decent sized jump between this season 42 and season 41. So, I do see that there was, a good bit of improvement. But is it a season that I want to, go back and rewatch? Not necessarily. I mean, even, just thinking through the players and, I don't know. It just doesn't stand out to me as, a super memorable season. Again, yeah, definitely appreciate the effort that they put in to try and make it as good as they possibly could. But to me, it's still not a season that I want to go back and rewatch all the time. Or if someone is, getting into Survivor and asking for season recommendations, I would definitely not recommend that they start with this season.
No.
So yeah, still have it ranked pretty low, but appreciate the effort for sure.
If you wanted to be impressed by a player, though, I would say watch Jonathan highlights. That's the key thing that I remember from that season. That man was a beast. It was so impressive. That's the one thing I'll always remember. So watch highlights. Just don't watch the season.
Yeah, just watch recaps.
I do agree with both of you here. I will say that I have it ranked slightly higher than at least two other seasons, simply because I do want to rewatch it. But that is also, it's been, several years at this point. And when I watched it the first time, I've only seen it live. I haven't rewatched it. I was not expecting the Marianne win. So that did kind of take me by surprise. And I always do love when I'm surprised by the winner. So I kind of want to rewatch it just to see her game throughout because I wasn't really keeping an eye on her at all. So that was just for me personally, because I think it would be interesting to watch her game because it is very subtle and very different. But for overall, I agree. It's a carbon copy of one. It's basically just a lot of the same things not working. The cast isn't that exciting and it's just okay. So it's still pretty far down my list. I do enjoy watching Jonathan play. He's amazing. Definitely a beast. And like I said, I want to rewatch Marianne and see her gameplay. It could be just as non-memorable as I remember the first time through, but I wasn't looking for it, if you know what I mean. So it's still pretty low down there for me, though.
I really like Marianne as a winner. I think that her story not only was obviously better told and set the standard for the rest of the new era when it comes to stories. Now we know you can't get 0 confessionals if you're going to win. Erica got that 0 confessional. I don't know how many times she got it, multiple times if I recall. But Marianne, they actually set the standard. They're like, okay, what if we actually evenly edit, for the most part, these players on a season? And then with Marianne getting evenly edited and actually getting a story, and also just being, in my opinion, a way more interesting character, a way more interesting person to watch, despite whether you like her or not, because I know she can grate on some people's nerves. I think Marianne was a fun winner, an interesting winner, and somebody I was like genuinely rooting for. Whereas Erica, I was like, I barely knew she existed until the Shan vote off episode, where she like finally like went from lion to lamb. You know, Marianne was just Marianne all season. Like she did become a better player. She impressed everybody. Sorry, from lamb to lion. I mean, what's the difference?
I was wondering.
You know, but in the finale, like Marianne pulls what Rizgod tries to do in the future. Marianne's like, I didn't play an idol. Aren't you impressed? And everybody's like, oh, Rizgod's like, what if I do it 7 times? People are like, all right, it's kind of lost the effect now. You know what I mean? Like Marianne set the stage.
He did it several times.
Yeah, several.
Right?
Oh,
come on.
Nice. Good catch.
42 is not super highly ranked for me. I do have it at number 8. However, give it some time. It could move up a spot. It is basically, in my mind, 41 part 2. Then applaud them for actually like listening to feedback and improving what was likely filmed and produced to be exactly the same as 41, because they really thought they were onto something there with 41, and they weren't. They were not cooking. They were doing the opposite. They were crapping in a toilet. So 42, number 8 for me. Mary, where do you have it?
It is 7th for me.
Okay, Rebekah?
I have it at number 8 as well.
Madison?
Lucky number 8.
It is, yes, it's our 8th overall season, above 41, as to be expected. But from here on out, I feel like it's going to get unpredictable on how the rest of these seasons are ranked. All right, let's move on to Survivor 43. This is when I think the show got better. It still had issues. Backstories we haven't really talked about that. Were just so prevalent. I was like so burnt out. 43 tried to front load like almost all their backstories. If you go back and rewatch it, it's like most of them are in the first like 2 episodes. It's insane. It's like, we have to do it. We know we have to do it. We're required to. Uncle Jeff's holding us at gunpoint, but we'll put them all in the beginning. We swear we'll be over with. They weren't over with, but most of them were, I guess. And of course, a lot of people don't like the winner, even though he was 1 vote shy of a perfect game. And Gabler, we all got Gablered. We all got Alligablered. I think there were some interesting storylines this season that were fun. Namely Gabler versus Ellie, which led to that mid-season where he's like, I told everyone to vote off Ellie because I want to vote off Ellie. And that was like a fun moment, and it worked out for him. But there's also like Jesse made so many big moves this season. And it's a real shame he's not going to be on 50. Like, this is the first season where I'm like, this is a person that should have been on 50 and they're not. That's a real shame. 43 did tone down quite a few things. The do or die is gone. I think the season's gone, right, Mary? It's not.
Let me double check.
I think do or die, it was like one of the things they got rid of. So 43, just an improved season. We had running gags this season finally. Sammy, did you know he's only 19 years old? Did you?
What?
Is he still? That's crazy.
Yeah, there's no do or die.
Still, yeah, do or die was gone. Yeah, they learned their lesson on a few things. So, Rebekah, what do you think about 43?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think this season was, just a vast improvement over season 42, which again, like, credit to Survivor for listening to the fans and listening to the feedback. And, once they had a chance to go out and film the next season, like, I think they did, listen, which I'm always very appreciative of.
can I jump in here? Because Jeff will never like admit that they listen. They constantly on his podcast says that they don't listen, but then you watch the show and you're like, no, they're listening. Somebody's
Clear
listening.
change.
Somebody just doesn't want to admit to it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Go ahead, Rebekah.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this, honestly, I don't think I've rewatched this season since it aired, but I think it's one that has aged well in my memory, just because, like, I remember at the time when Gabler won, I was like, I don't know if I would say upset that he won. That's maybe a little bit too strong of a word, but I was very shocked. And I was like, flabbergasted, just had no idea. And kind of in retrospect, that's kind of hilarious, like, because the signs were all there the whole time. Like, he truly was an alligabler. And so I don't know. Yeah, like, I think, you know, he's a good winner. And it is kind of like we were talking about, like, it is a season that I would go back and rewatch. Interesting players, people trying to make moves at least. So yeah, this season in my mind is like just such a vast improvement over 42 and 41. So
it's also interesting to me when in 43 it's like some things that were learned, some things weren't. Because in the preview for 43, they're like, Carla's gonna be a villain. Like, that's the preview for 43. But then you watch 43 and you're like, no, she's not. But I'm like, why not? Why couldn't they? Were like afraid to like have a villain still. They were like, oh no, I don't know about that. But also, one of the interesting threads this season was Cassidy not listening to people going to the jury. She's like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want anyways, like whatever. And it's like, I'm so glad it didn't work out.
And you'll still vote for me, right?
Right. I'm so glad it didn't work out, because it's like, this is another season where it's like the lesson. You must know what the jury wants and listen to them, especially when they're telling it to you. When they're telling it to you, that's the best part. That's like, oh, because most of the time you're like, I don't know what they're thinking. Here, they were telling her, this is what I want for me to vote for you. And she's like, no. So yes, Madison, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say this was a season that brought a little bit of the old school chaos back with all the different feuds, which for me makes for fun Survivor. So like what you're saying about Cassidy, I was here for that. I loved watching her just like go the opposite direction. And she had her feud with Carla, and then like the epic like Cody and Jesse being besties, and then suddenly one of them's gone, you know. And I'm with you guys on Gabler. If I were to go back in time, I literally remember turning to my husband and being like, can you rewind? Like, who just won? And we were both so shocked. But I do feel like the writing was on the wall. If I knew then what I know now, I think it would be great to like rewatch it. And so for me, if I want to rewatch a season because I have intrigue, that's automatically an improvement. And I think they were able to do that. They focused more, I think, on characters as opposed to all of these new twists. Like you said, they listened. Yeah. They actually listened. And I was very appreciative. So that was, for me, the first time since Winners at War where I was invested pretty much the whole time.
I agree. I know I probably have this one ranked higher than all of you, and I probably will die on this hill, I guess. But I love Gabler and his win. With similar thing to you, Madison, that night when he won. I think I was already on the edge of my seat because of Jesse and the fire making challenge and everything like that. There was just so many like ups and downs. It was a roller coaster, but in a really good way. And also at the same time, we talk about like the edit for Erica was terrible. The edit for Marianne was pretty good. The edit for Gabler, honestly, I think was so good because he's there the whole time. He's present. You're just in your mind, you're like, but Gabler can't win, you know, at least in my mind. And then
it must be Jesse,
right? Wesley falls out of his chair laughing because Gabler won, and I'm just shocked. I just don't know what's happened. So like you said, for it to be so memorable and it to be such a fun season, I did love Jesse. I was rooting for him the entire time, and so I think that like heartbreak that just happened a few minutes before maybe didn't help me as far as rooting for Gabler in the moment. But I do think overall he's a good winner. And this is one season that I would love to go back and watch again because it does feel a little bit more of the old school. And this is the only time that I actually liked the Beware advantage because they had to basically get the beads from their other tribe mates without them knowing. And it made them be really creative, I felt like, and it wasn't dumb. Like they weren't saying dumb things in front of everyone. They just had to figure out how to get the beads. And I think that's the only time I've actually really enjoyed seeing them do the Big Bear Advantage because I thought it was fun. So yeah, for me, I'm pretty high up on 43. It was a really fun season.
What you're saying, Mary, about like Gabler's just always there. I feel like the editing so strongly represented his, final speech to the jury about how he was always there. He's just in the water. He's the alligabler. And the edit like really honored what he had to say, which is why I think it's fun for a second watch.
Yes, because it's very different from Erica's edit where she like didn't exist in the show and then we're like, who is this? But with Gabler, it's like, yeah, when you look back, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Gabler was there since episode 1. Like, he had his whole messy episode 1, so we knew who he was from the beginning. It kind of reminds me of a winner we're going to talk about later, a season we're going to talk about later, where, like, Rachel, like, they made sure you knew who she was in episode 1, then they kind of pushed her to the side till the merge. Gabler was kind of that way. Like, we knew who he was. I think he had a more prominent pre-merge until Ellie went out. Then he had that, like, immunity win where he got to talk about his father. And it's like, this was one of those times where it's like the backstory didn't feel out of place. I think it was the only one episode. I could be wrong. I don't remember everything about these New Era seasons. But it's one of those times where it's like, all right, the backstory feels earned because like during his immunity win, he's like thanking everybody. He's like thanking his father, or thanking people in Alaska. I forgot. I just remember him thanking everybody.
Oh, I remember.
So it felt like it connected. It didn't feel out of place. Like there are backstories in the New Era that feel like, oh, okay, this is an earned backstory. But then there are times where it's like, this is clearly forced. And it's nice when the winner gets one and it doesn't feel forced. It feels like, okay, this flows, this works. It's not shoved in there to fit a check mark on the sheet. So for me, I have 43 ranked at number 3. Mary?
Number 1.
Wow.
Whew,
Rebekah?
Wow. I have it at number 4.
And I have it at the lowest with number 6.
Overall, 43 ends up being our 3rd overall ranked season. I don't see it moving up based on the seasons that are above it, but who knows? One day, maybe it can. I don't think it will, though. I think this is probably its final placement in the New Era. Because after 50, what is the next era? I don't know. What is it called? Is Jeff going to tell us, or we have to figure it out ourselves?
It's in the hands of the players. Wait.
It's in the hands of the fans. It's in the hands of the fans. All right, let's move on to Survivor 44. Survivor 44. Wow, what a season. It happened. They filmed it. They aired it on the television, and I watched it. It did star the Tika 3. I will say that. They were the most memorable characters. Jam Jam, great character. Carolyn, great character. Carson, a good character. I wouldn't say great. A good character. Like, on the season, a good character. Outside of those 3, like, there is no one else in 44. What?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sir Kane, Franny, Matt, like, no one else.
This is
I'm
true.
with Mary
Okay,
on this.
sorry. Bruce was out in like
Claire
10
still
minutes.
hasn't participated in a challenge.
Claire has not participated in challenge. Here's
Okay,
the
but
thing.
Bruce dove into a pole. That's memorable.
Sir Kane was like a 10-second moment on the season that we joked about. And I do appreciate our jokes, but
Right.
it was a 10-second scene on the show. Claire singing out challenges. I do like that Jeff got annoyed by this, and then in 45 clears up that no longer are you allowed to do that anymore, sitting out challenges back to back. But like, these are minor things that, like, overall the narrative was very predictable. The Tika 3 ran the table. We didn't really ever question it. At this point, everyone and their mother realized what the mat chat was and what effect it did. You know, what it meant editing wise, story wise. So like, we knew from the beginning it had to be. I think it was Franny, MGM, and Jam Jam. I think those were the 3 that got mat chats. So we're like, it has to be one of those 3. MGM goes out because he falls. Also, Jeff's like, this is not a quit. Even though we're not medically pulling him, it's not a quit.
Right.
What is it, Jeff? We still don't know to this day. It's not a quit, though. Yeah, so anyways, MGM goes out there. Once Franny's out, we're like, okay, Jam Jam has to win because the show's been doing the same thing for 11 seasons now. Like, it's giving themselves away, especially the New Era where they kept doing it over and over again. So, I don't know, 44 for me, just in retrospect, is kind of like a dull season I don't want to rewatch. There are little moments in it, which is what you guys are referencing for me, but none of those were like season-long threads that I cared about. It were just little jokes that we were making. And like, sure, they're funny, but it's not good enough to make this a good season for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Mary, what do you think?
I do agree with you overall. It's kind of middle of the road for me. I love Carolyn. She's one of my favorite players. I think she's amazing. Not because she's just an amazing Survivor player, but because of her personality, I think she's just such a fun person to watch on TV. I also love Matt and Franny's romance that they have, but that doesn't often happen. I'm pretty sure they're still together. So, like, I don't know. That just
Yes, they are, as far as I know, still together.
So I loved that. But you're right. I mean, it's just kind of, we knew who was going to win. It was a little predictable. It was a little boring. We still have a lot of the new era stuff that just doesn't really help or happen, make anything happen as far as gameplay. I want to say there was just so many journeys. I know there's always so many journeys in the new era, but I remember specifically just being like, my journey. Okay.
Every season through 48 has 4 journeys. I went and looked. It's just, when did they happen is the bigger question.
Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe the timing of this one was just weird for me. But yeah, it's just, like, I do think Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Carson carry the season, which can be good or bad depending on if you like them or not. So yeah, I do like them, but also, do I want to rewatch them just steamroll everyone? Yeah, middle of the road.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think this season for me is kind of the inverse of 43. So, like, 43, it was, like, fine when I watched it, but in retrospect, I'm, like, obsessed. Like, this is hilarious. I want to go rewatch it.
It had twists and turns.
Yes. Season 44 to me is the opposite of that, where I think I enjoyed watching this for the first time, like, quite a bit. Like, I do remember being like, oh, okay, this is fun, whatever. Like, the things you guys are saying about, like, journeys and, the Tika 3 just kind of steamrolling everybody. Like, sure, that was happening, but it was still, like, fun enough. I think, honestly, I do think Carolyn carried a lot of that season for me personally. But do I want to go back and rewatch it? Not really. Because it's just so, like, cut and dry. It's kind of predictable. It's just like, okay, yeah, let's just watch these 3, just steamroll everybody. So, yeah, I have it a lot lower for that reason. But, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we got, like, some really interesting characters out of it, specifically Carolyn. And, I mean, obviously, like, with her being on the Traders and just, like, I know that's unrelated to the show, but, like, I don't know, I'm just so glad that we got Carolyn out of this season. So, yeah, I enjoyed watching it, but I don't think I'll probably re-watch it.
We're filming this before the Traders season 4, but Jam Jam's going to be on the Traders season 4, so I'm interested to see if he does as well as Carolyn did. Right.
No.
Yeah. That's very true.
I'm predicting
I don't think he's going to be as entertaining.
Oh, this is my moment because I disagree with all of you. I love this season.
Oh, boy.
I think what I've realized about myself, though, honestly, is that if there is a group of people who are steamrolling and I enjoy that group of people, that's going to be one of my favorite seasons. So the fact that we had this Tika 3 who were just dominating and, kind of pulling Heidi along at points, I enjoyed that. And I do agree with you, Rebekah, that Carolyn really carried this season. So I think she's a big part of why I enjoyed it. But for me, 44 felt like a shift more into relationships, kind of building off of 43, honestly, but more into relationships, more into camp life. We're seeing a romance bud. We're seeing them hang out and bowl. We're seeing these weird moments between Carolyn and Jam Jam where for some reason he burps into her mouth so she can taste the reward. That's so gross, and I was here for it for some reason.
And he wants to go poopy in the ocean.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just telling us how it is in a way that was
Sage's
endearing.
wet dream from 49.
Oh my God.
I am going to move away from that comment.
I mean, is it
Keep
not
saying
true?
What I was saying. But like they brought back the last gasp, which is a challenge that I really enjoyed. Yes. I just felt like there were essences of older Survivor coming back, and I really enjoyed it. Now, if I were to critique one thing, I would say this was the first season where I also started to feel like, despite everything I just said, some of the players, particularly Carson, had come into the season having practiced the challenges. And I did not like that because
That's not a feeling. I think he confirmed it on the show, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he confirmed it on the show. He said he had been.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, though. I didn't like that because that feels less organic. I realize everybody goes on the show because you want to win. But that was the start of people blatantly being proud of the fact that they, either made the stuff and practiced or they practiced a certain skill to do it. And I don't doubt that people do that. But that was a little weird for me, just that. I don't like that. But the rest of it, this to me was a season just filled with fun, and I didn't have to think too hard about it because I did know what was going to happen. And in this season, I'm okay with that.
I will say, Madison, just picking it back off of what you said about fun, I did kind of like the birdcage that they introduced in this season, which was new, and I don't think they've done it again. So that was a fun thing that they tried. That I think, like I said, when you're trying new stuff in this new area, some of the stuff's going to work, some of it doesn't. That's one I don't think I would mind see coming back, maybe with a few tweaks or something, because it was so different than what we would normally see. So you're right, there were definitely some fun, different things that happened this season.
We have talked about I feel like we talked about every winner's story. Jam Jam, it was a shame that the match chat gave it away. Like at that point, everyone realized what the match chat was and what it meant. Despite that, I think Jam Jam was very charismatic. I think he had a fun story. He did basically once Josh was voted off, which I think was the Mergatory, if not the episode after, basically it became cut and dry that Jam Jam's not going to have any opposition to the very end. So it did become a bit boring in the strategic aspect, but Jam Jam as a character, I think, made up for it, and therefore, while he could have been a low-tier winner had he been boring because his game ended up being boring, his game being boring didn't matter as much because he was so interesting to listen to and see. And I don't know, I like Jam Jam. I'm a fan of Jam Jam, and I look forward to seeing him on the Traders.
He's a great storyteller. You want him narrating your story, and I loved it.
Correct. That's why I think. What about you, Rebekah? What do you think about Jam Jam's winner?
Yeah. No, I think you bring up a lot of good points. Yeah, I mean, I think he does have like the charisma, the riz, whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, he does have like, there's something about him that's very magnetic. Just like, yeah, either when you're talking to him in person or like specifically for us, like watching him on TV. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's important. Like, I understand why he won. I think it's, you watch the show and you see like, okay, yeah, Jam Jam has this charm to him. Like, yeah, it makes sense that he won. So even like, to be honest, even if we didn't know about the Matt chat, I feel like it wouldn't have been surprising. I mean, just given the way that the Tika 3 were kind of running this season, like, yeah, I don't think it would have been too surprising that he ended up winning. So yeah, I think they did a good job with his story and makes sense that he won.
I think that kind of also ties into what you were saying, Rebekah, about how it was a fun season to watch. And that is one of the reasons, because Jam Jam is so fun. Like, you can't help but just smile when he's on screen, or I couldn't. I don't know if I knew he was the winner probably as soon as Wesley did, maybe, because I do feel like there were a lot of other contenders for a while. Well, people I just really liked. Like, I love Carolyn. I understand she didn't connect with the jury like Jam Jam does, but so for me, I think that was just like me holding on to the fact that maybe she'd win. But you're right, like with Jam Jam, the way he spoke to people, the way everyone just loved him, it was he should have been. If I would have taken just a few minutes to put my heart aside, it should have been so obvious that like everyone loves Jam Jam.
You just didn't buy into any conspiracy theories I've ever had, even if they've been right every time.
I do try to ignore your conspiracy theories just so we have a different point of view.
Yeah.
That's probably for the best.
But then all of a sudden we're outside the podcast and then we're just married and I have opinion. Mary's like, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. I don't agree. And I'm like, what?
It's not Survivor related.
Survivor, yeah.
Right.
Just I feel like it's outside Survivor, Mary. I feel like it's just any time I have a strong opinion, you're just like,
Wesley, be honest, how many conspiracy theories do you have outside of Survivor?
Honestly,
tell us
not
the
many.
truth.
Not many. Mary will tell you it's
because
mostly
of
on the
balance.
show.
Mary brings balance. That's why.
Yes.
All right. Well, for me, Survivor 44 is ranked 6th overall. Mary?
5th.
Rebekah?
I have it at number 7.
Madison?
I got that 3. I really like it.
Wow, you really do.
Whoa, okay.
Overall,
wow, there you go.
This is our 7th overall ranked season. It is possible it can move up. I think there's some recency bias that affects whenever we do this podcast, whenever it affects the most recent season, most recent 2 seasons. I can see 44 maybe moving up a spot in the future. We'll see. But at the moment, it is 7th overall. All right, our next season is a shift for Survivor. Survivor, by the time 44 ended, I felt like the new era had already become tired, dull, rote, R-O-T-E, I think it's right, I used that word. It had gotten very predictable. 45 changed it up in a good way. Gone was the Matt chat. Gone were the 42-minute episodes without commercials. We are now in the hour-and-a-half era. The writer's strike pushed Survivor, allowed Survivor, and The Amazing Race, I might add. Amazing Race, great show. I highly recommend it as well. But anyways, both shows got pushed into being 90 minutes with commercials, or I think like 65 minutes without. So you got like an extra 22, 23 minutes without commercials, which is just great. Anyways, point being is that I think it breathed new life in the show. I feel like the show was having more fun. We brought the auction back. I remember the one scene where it's like, I playing with the boys. Like stuff like that was introduced in 45. They were having fun. Bruce was back. Bruce was a mess. Bruce should not have been there, but he was. And it just caused so much. Lulu was an absolute disaster tribe. Mary, do you remember this?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah. Disaster tribe. And I know some people don't like that, but like to me, that just made the pre-merge. It really did. And then the shot in the dark finally worked this season in a way that mattered. I know it technically worked at 44, but it didn't do anything. It's like it finally worked and it mattered. And it was like, finally. They've been building up. They've been teasing us for 5 seasons about this thing. And here it is actually working for once. And of course, now we're recording this as 49's wrapping up. And like it's basically been a nothing burger. I think it worked one more time since it's only worked twice in the new era. But it's just kind of a nothing burger overall. They built it up and they finally this is the height. This season was the height of it.
Well, but I will say, if I can jump in real quick, the only thing to counter that is that it worked, but only for one episode. Like, didn't he get...
That's not the shot in the dark's fault.
No, it's not, but it is. I mean, it's kind of inherent in that advantage where it's like, okay, yeah, you can survive one vote, but if everyone's still mad at you, like, you're going to get voted out next week.
Caleb was too smart, Rebekah. He's too smart. That's what happened.
He was.
He was the smartest of the Lulu, and they knew it. No one was scared of Emily flipping, at least not yet. So anyways, the downside of 45 for me is once Bruce is voted off, I feel like the season becomes quite predictable. It's mostly the Reba 4 running the show. You do get a bit of D playing Austin. In retrospect, that's what was happening. D was playing Austin because Austin's like, I could see me becoming Boston Rob and finding my Amber on the show. And D's like, yeah, that'd be fun. But she never says back to him, like, I agree or I want that too. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering, but like I went back and watched that after we all learned after the season that her and Wendell were dating and not her and Austin. And I was like, was she playing Austin? I remember going back and like, oh no, Austin's the one all into D. D is just like, yeah. So I don't know. Good season. Interesting result. Predictable last couple episodes, but honestly, it was like so fun for so long that it made up for the lackluster last couple episodes. For me, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think to me, I kind of like when there is a hot mess tribe, so like that might also influence my input on this, but like, yeah, the Lulu tribe just being such a disaster. I mean, they had, I think, 2 or 3 quits depending on who you ask, and just like...
That's true.
Yeah, even things just like, I remember the conversation that they had with like Emily about the pyramids and the aliens or something, and she was like, what is everyone talking about? And then at some point Caleb like pulls her aside.
Aliens built the pyramids, Rebekah.
Yeah, but then at some point Caleb like pulls her aside and he's like, you have to like pretend to be interested in these things. Like that might have been like post-merge, but
no, I think that was like episode 2.
Was it earlier? Okay.
It really was super early.
I mean, I think, yeah, kind of like you were saying, I think this season brought back a lot of the fun of Survivor. Like they brought back, like you mentioned, the auction and just things where it's like, okay, this is, I mean, it's never fully going to feel like classic Survivor with the changes that have been made in the new era, but it was a lot closer. Like, yes, we're still doing the 26 days, and all that stuff, but it's like, okay, it feels a little bit more like the Survivor that we all know and love. So I enjoyed this season a lot, and I think it is one that I would rewatch. I also remember like Kelly and Kendra like being on the jury and just like overreacting to everything. I thought was hilarious. I don't know if everyone thought that was as funny as I did.
Their facial expressions.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, just like shocked at everything that happened. I was like, that's pretty good. That's my opinion. But what about you, Madison?
I also really enjoyed this tribe because this season, as we've already established, I am okay with a dominating group. But I'm with you, Rebekah. When there is like a slow train wreck tribe at the very beginning, I'm okay with that too, if there's some comedy to it. So like you start the season.
That's the thing, Madison, if there's comedy to it, because we got train wreck tribes in these other seasons, and people are complaining about the 3 tribe format being the result. It's like, yeah, but on 45, it was fun because they were a mess.
Yes.
They weren't just bad
Yeah,
challenges.
it was
They
fun.
were a mess. So go ahead.
Well,
I just
I mean, you
want to throw that in there
start-
because it's important that they're a mess for it to be fun.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, you literally start the season, right? They're on a ship, and poor Brandon is just like not having a good time with literally anything he's
That was
doing.
a tough watch.
And I have to be careful talking about it now because I'm going to get tickled and you're going to have to move on and talk to somebody else. But like, that was such a strong start for me. And he took it in stride, like from what I saw. And then you have Emily, though, like on a funny / also realistic thing, getting coached by Caleb and again, having to learn to embrace the aliens and the pyramids and all of that stuff.
Embrace the aliens, season 45.
Embrace the aliens. That's what it should be called. If there's titles now, it's Embrace the Aliens. But like, you know, you've got, I think, a memorable cast of characters. When I pull up, you know, a cast photo, I genuinely do know who most of these people are just because of all the stuff that happened or the facial expressions you saw. And some fun stuff came back, but also I felt like there were random, like, new things were really new thing. I remember the rice stab very vividly.
Yes.
And that was like,
This
let's
is the
increase
best rights
stakes.
negotiation by far.
Oh, it was so
Yes.
good.
It
was so
peaked
good.
here.
It should have just
It
stopped
did
here.
peak
This is
here.
it.
But like you have this, you know, this season comprised of a lot of fun little moments that collect into a really big one. And honestly, Dee as a winner, I did enjoy watching her. I mean, kind of what you said, Wesley. She never necessarily like committed to Austin, but she did utilize Austin and his relationship with Drew and Mama Julie. I just felt like it was a really well-rounded season.
She played him like a sexy fiddle.
Oh my.
Mary's look to me right now is not what you want to see. Mary, go ahead. What were you thinking?
No, I'll just go on with my thoughts about this season. I probably have it ranked lower than I should. I just really, I really don't enjoy watching Dee play the game, and that's personal opinion. And I can't
What do
say
you have
that.
against big toes?
No, it's not the big toe. It really is. It almost seemed like she lucked into this. Like she was placed on a tribe with an attractive young man who was going to like her. She was placed on a tribe of the geeky Drew who was probably going to be blindsided by her. You know what I mean? Like I feel like she lucked into a lot of it, but she did have some skill. Obviously, she was good at some of the challenges too. I'm not saying that she just, I mean, every Survivor player has luck. I don't know. I just don't enjoy her gameplay. But I do enjoy Katura and Bruce's rivalry. I love Emily Flippin and her character development
Flippin'
through the
Emily.
whole show. She is probably one of my top 5 favorite Survivor players. I just love her.
Can we take a quick pause because we should have been doing this so far and we have not. I'm sorry. We should talk about people who are going to be back on 50. Like Jesse should have been, Carolyn should have been, but they're not. Jonathan's the only one from 41 through 44 who's going to be on there. And I say this because you're bringing up people who are going to be on 50. Jonathan, let's just quickly, Mary, you look for Jonathan on 50?
Of course.
I am. Rebekah, are you?
Yes, I think so. I don't think I am as excited to see him play again as maybe other people are. But yeah, I mean, he's a beast in challenges. Like, yeah, I'm excited to see him come back for sure.
Simply for the challenges.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's not like super strategic from what I remember. Like, I don't think of him as like a big survivor threat, but it is fun to watch him do challenges. So, yes.
I would echo Rebekah. I don't recall necessarily liking his social game or remembering much about a strategic game, but I'd watch him do challenges all day.
Okay, so now we're on this season. Let's start with Emily Flippin. Mary, what do you think about Emily Flippin being asked back and coming back for 50?
I'm excited about that. I feel like obviously we have seen how she can learn and adapt and grow as far as her people skills, and she's smart. So I don't know. I feel like she might be a little bit underrated by other players, and so may do well. I'm hoping she does well. But yeah, I'm excited to see her play.
I love Emily Flippin. I think she's super adaptable, and I think she'll be able to handle this well, like in terms of meshing new era and old era. And I think she's just fun. She's funny. She's like such dry humor, and I'm a big fan of that. So I'm a big fan of her.
Flippin' Emily, Rebekah. Flippin' Emily.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. She's honestly, she might be the person from the new era that I'm most excited to see on 50 from the new era. But yeah, just because like you guys were saying, like she she has the ability to learn and adapt and to like change her gameplay, which is something that's so important in Survivor. And I think she learned so much from her first time playing that I'm hoping that on 50 she can kind of pick up where she left off and continue to learn and adapt and change her game and like just do really well. And on top of that, yeah, she's just very entertaining. Like, I love the way that she views the world and is just like so confused by some of the conversations that people have, and like, is this what people talk about? Like, I don't know. I'm just a big fan of her. I think she's TV gold. Like, yeah, I'm very excited to see her play again.
I'm more looking forward to her playing than D, and I only say that because D won. Had D finished in second, third, fourth, I'd be like, oh, I wonder what the big toe Cuban's going to do this time. But no, I'm not looking forward to any winners because there's only, theoretically, at the moment, 3 of them on the season. We're recording this right for the finale of 49. I'm just saying, 2 or 3, who knows, probably 3. Anyways, I don't like any winners being on 50 just because of the way they cast the season. If there's not enough winners, so don't put any on there. So I just feel like all winners are dead in the water. So like, no matter how much I like the winner, they're all dead. Like, they're not going to win. Someone would need to pull a Sandra, but I just can't see somebody pulling a Heroes versus Villains Sandra on Survivor 50 with only 26 days and 24 people. Like, you're bound to get picked off as a winner just for any reason whatsoever.
Like, the other thing I'll say about D, because I think, especially like with this new era, I think we're seeing a decent amount of like winners who, to me, are not like entertaining to watch on TV. Now, that's not at all to knock D for her win, because again, she earned it. Like, she was good at challenges. Like, you don't have to be entertaining to like win the game. And in fact, some of the people who I consider the most entertaining are like the most polarizing people. So like, of course they're not going to make it to the end, you know? So yeah, but I think like because of that, like, I don't know if I would say that I'm super excited to see her play again, because I don't know, she doesn't have, like, she's not out here constantly ranting about how much she hates Bruce or like freaking out about, I don't know, Applebee's, or like just, you know, these things where it's like people are doing things that are like memorable, entertaining. And yeah, I don't remember a lot of things like that from D. So, but again, like, she deserved the win. Like, she clearly earned it. But in terms of like people coming back for 50, I'm way more excited to see Emily than I am to see D. So, well, yeah, it's my 2 cents.
So what you're saying, Rebekah, I feel like Dee's Survivor story has concluded. I don't know what there is to add to her story at this point, because it concluded in the season she was in.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it. Yep.
I think the only winner I feel cliffhanged by at the moment is Chris Underwood, and they're not probably going to bring him back. He's the only one because of the way he won, with playing only, 9 days in the proper game. You know, that's the only winner where I'm like, I wonder what would happen in a second chance, you know, the second shot. Whereas all the other winners, in theory, could be like what Madison's saying, where it's, well, their story kind of concluded with their win for the most part, for most of them. You know, that was kind of the arc. And the only winner I could see like needing a second shot would have been Chris Underwood. But I wouldn't want him on this season. I feel like all winners dead in the water. Mary, what do you think?
Yeah, I think especially winners in general don't have a good shot as returnees in general. That's what I'm trying to say. Returnees in general are always kind of dead in the water. And so then when we have a season of all returnees, obviously these people are good players. They know that you shouldn't leave a winner in. So especially, I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think Dee is a good player. I think she deserved her win. I just don't see her lasting very long in this game. In season 50. That's what I'm trying to say. So we'll see. I am excited to see Emily Flippin, and I think that, like I said, I probably should rank 45 higher because you all have made some good points. Maybe I have like a negative. It was such a negative thing to see Dee win, and I don't know why. I just felt like she totally played Austin. That's probably just like again, a lot of this is my own personal opinion, but it's kind of low down for me.
For me, 45 is rank number 4. Mary, what'd you just say the rank was?
Well, it's 8th.
Oh my gosh. Rebekah?
Oh, mine's at number 3.
Madison?
Mine's at 4.
Okay. Overall, 45 ends up being our 5th overall ranked season. It's tied with another season, though I am the tiebreaker, and I'm putting this above the other season, and I'll say what the other season is later. But This season is better than the air season is tied with. They shouldn't even be tied to begin with, and I'm ashamed to see that they are. Okay, let's move on to Survivor 46. In my opinion, best season in the new era. First few episodes, a little slow. But once Bonu's voted off, I mean, the whole Bonu breakdown is iconic. We were just annoyed at that point with him. By the way, guys, listen to this. Bonu has more confessionals in the 4 episodes he played than Christina going to the finale of 49.
Oh my word.
That's unbelievable.
Well, because the first 2 episodes of this season were 2 hours with commercials, right?
Yes.
Like they were longer episodes.
Yes. Oh,
so I
46,
think,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 46,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, and that was a big...
Even so.
46's second
I mean, it's
episode
still
was weak.
crarazy.
Yes. 46
Yes.
starts off slow. Reminds me of Vanuatu like that, but once it gets going, oh my gosh, the characters,
Yes.
the gameplay, the fact that 5 people went out with idols in their pockets, and I'm still sitting here being like 46 was super good. It was good. Like there were so many iconic moments. Liz screaming about Applebee's will live rent free in everybody's head forever. Q causing chaos, canceling Christmas, big mistake, tries to quit the game 3 times and fails every time trying to quit. In fact, after he tries to quit the 3rd time, he stays in the game for like 4 or 5 more episodes. It's insanity. Like he tried to quit and people are like, no, you're staying whether you like it or not. He invents the Q skirt. They play hide and seek. I think I said that. Yeah, just what a great season. Charlie, of course, getting burned by Maria. Maria had all the right in the world to burn him, but she lies about why she does it after the season. And we're still talking, or at least I'm still talking about it. Kenzie earned the win, to be clear, and I like Kenzie. I do think it's funny. Kenzie on the show, for the winner of the season, is like, Jess sucks. I don't like Jess. Jess sucks. Tiffany says, Jess sucks. I don't like Jess. Like, that's what you hear. Jeff then goes on the pot, or Jeff's, what was it, Jess? It was Jess and Bonu. They dunk on both of them. And Jeff on his podcast, like, if you don't like Bonu, what does that say about you? Should you even be on Survivor? And what's funny is he's talking about Kenzie, but Kenzie ends up winning, but he doesn't say Kenzie's name because he knows that when he's doing the podcast. But like, he's like trying to like educate us, the audience, that we should like Bonu because he's being real. But then on the show proper, Kenzie's like, Bonu sucks. People are like, Bonu's the worst. I don't like Bonu. He annoys. Jess sucks. Like, just the winner talking trash about people. So 46, honestly, great season top to bottom. I don't, after Bonu's voted off, and even, I mean, I guess the Bonu breakdown's iconic, but that's the example of the Yanu tribe. Despite being a mess, they weren't as interesting as Lulu from 45. They were a mess, not as interesting as a tribe before that. But then once Bonu's gone, the season gets really good. Madison, what do you think about 46?
46 is for sure my favorite season in the 40s. I'm with you on everything you said. This is the most quotable season. My husband and I think every day quote Liz or Q at least 3 times because it's that notable. So like everything that's happening, amazing. Put it on my TV again. I'm with you on Kenzie. I was okay with her as a winner. I know she's a bit of a controversial take just because maybe she's a little more non-conventional since her victory, I would say, is a social victory over everything. But, I mean, all throughout the season, she's consoling Bonu when he is saying, like, God sent him here to win and it's not happening. Like, that's probably hard to do, you know? But Kenzie adapts.
God, why did you do this to me? God's like, you applied for the show.
She took it like a champ, you know? And, like, she was there. I remember in the middle of the night, I think his name was Ben, right? The rock star. He was in the final 3.
Yep.
He had a panic attack and she was able to be a human, but also still able to, like, cut throats when she had to. And I felt like Kenzie and Tiff were a good juxtaposition to Charlie and Maria because that was a duo that seemed like it lasted. And also just Kenzie, again, clearly a Kenzie fan, but her hairstyle's changing every tribal and how she used the buff. I mean, she was keeping it fresh and that was a great hairstylist there. So I hope she got business out of that. But yeah, definitely a favorite season. I would rewatch it again and I would show it to someone to get them to watch Survivor. And I would not say that about probably any of the other New Era seasons.
This is a great season to introduce somebody to Survivor because you're going to set them up for what to actually expect in the New Era versus showing them like Dave versus Goliath and be like, well, I know you enjoyed the season, but like Survivor now has 13 less days and it's like, it's not as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you guys are saying this because this is actually how I got my dad hooked on Survivor was because of this season.
See?
Specifically, like, long story, but he like figured out, he signed up, I think, for Liz's newsletter. And then he like saw that she was on Survivor. So he asked me about Liz, and I sent him the Applebee's clip. And
That's
he was
hilarious.
hooked. I mean, he watched this whole season and now he's like super into it. Like, I think he's seen all the new era, and I gave him like a bunch of homework for like old era seasons to go back and like, yeah. So
Question. After he saw the Applebee's clip, did he stay signed up for her newsletter?
Oh, good question.
you know, I think he did. I'm not 100% sure, but he was kind of like, oh, I can't believe this is the person that I signed up for her newsletter. But I think he stayed signed up. Like, I think he still is. Yeah.
Remember when Liz advertised our finale for 46 and had no idea? Had no idea.
That was iconic.
It was a free advertisement. She didn't pay us anything, but we just asked her, like, hey, can we advertise your newsletter on the podcast?
She could.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, there's no way she's listening to our podcast. Like, there's no way. Because we loved Liz, but we were definitely quoting the Applebee's thing every week.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Honestly, Rebekah, funny comparison here. Literally yesterday, I showed someone the clip of Liz's Applebee's meltdown, and today they said, I think I do want to watch Survivor. It's the
That's
clip to get people
awesome.
on there.
It is. It's good. I feel like it's something that like you don't need a lot of context for the show to understand like what's going on, but it's so intriguing. It's like, wait, what's happening? Why are we screaming about Applebee's? And
Well, and
yeah,
the most like
Because Liz is stacked with millions of dollars of cash, but she goes to Applebee's every Wednesday with her daughter to the bourbon burger, even though the bourbon burger has gluten and she doesn't eat gluten. She's gluten free, but for the bourbon burger, she makes an exception.
but not for that burger. Well, and my favorite underrated moment, Venus, when she tries to hug her. Do you guys remember that? Venus is like clearly starting to comfort Liz, and then Liz erupts in another scream. Like, that does not get talked about enough.
Remember when Maria had people play rock, paper, scissors, and then Liz ends up losing to Q, who's been on like 4 rewards in a row, and Liz is like, why'd you make me do that? And she's so mad about it. And they don't even eat the bourbon burger, and they come back and they're like, we were too full to eat it. And she's like, they were too full to eat the bourbon burger.
That was just like, that was the nail in the coffin. I can't believe they didn't even eat it. But I think like the reason that scene works so well also to introduce people to the show is that if people then watch the rest of the season, like it holds up. Like it's not such an anomaly. Like there's so many more instances like that, like when Q makes them play hide and seek and everything's a big mistake. If you're trying too hard, big mistake. If you're not trying hard enough, big mistake. Cancel Christmas, all of that. So it's such an iconic, like memorable season in so many ways. I do have to say for me, I might have it ranked a little lower than the rest of y'all just because of Banu's presence in the first few episodes. Like that to me does, it's like I guess maybe not quite a third of the season, but it's like in my mind, it's so like there's so much that you have to like trudge through to get to the gold that is the rest of that season. So that does knock it down a little bit.
Liz helps Kenzie cheat on a challenge, POs Maria in the process. Maria's mad at Charlie, by the way, about this. Then Liz has to face Kenzie, the person she helped cheat in an immunity challenge, and loses her in fire, and she goes, oh, boo, tomatoes.
Yes, I say that all the time.
So good.
Boo, tomatoes.
So good.
Yeah, Mary, what do you think about 46?
Well, clearly, it is iconic. You can't get away from all the drama that happens in the season. It is super fun. I'm glad that it is introducing new people to Survivor because that is cool. For me personally, you said, Rebekah, you probably have it ranked lower than us. I don't know. I think I might be equal with you, if not lower. And partly because of Banu at the beginning, but for me, honestly, it just, there is so little strategy. The drama takes over the season, and while that is fun for a lot of people, I personally don't enjoy too much drama on TV.
Boo, tomatoes.
I know. I'm the wet blanket. I'm the odd one out, and that's fine. I just like...
Survivor is a strategy show, so that's fair.
Yeah, I enjoy a little bit more strategy with my drama sandwich. So it was a lot of drama, a lot of intense emotions, I guess. And so while I definitely see the value of it and while people enjoy watching it, so many good characters. Like you're saying, there's not a single person on here, maybe one or two, like towards the beginning, where I can't remember like a line that they said or something about them from the show. So overall, it is a bombshell of a season. I get it. I definitely think it's something that new people would enjoy watching. It's just me personally. It's so much drama. So much drama. But I agree, like, Kinsey is a good winner. I actually really like her gameplay. I think the social aspect of it is something that people can tend to overlook sometimes. And so just seeing her connect genuinely with people over and over and over again, that is something really cool to see too. So yeah, it is a great season. Do I want to rewatch it? Not really. Not right now. Maybe later when my life is less drama filled.
What are you saying?
Yeah, right. I'm not married to anyone who
Wesley.
loves drama
What?
or see drama.
No, I'm
all
legit
the time.
confused. Wait, okay, all right. 46 is a top
I'll
tier
expose
season,
him.
ranked number
It's Wesley.
1 by me. Mary, what do you have it ranked?
6th.
What the heck, Rebekah?
Whoa. Okay, I have it at number 2. That makes me feel better about my number 2, though.
Yeah, Madison.
Definitely number 1. I'm with you,
Bro,
Wesley.
Mary's the anomaly.
I'm just here to screw up with all the numbers.
You're the drama.
That's fair. That's your opinion. Yeah.
46, despite Mary's low ranking, does still end up being our number 1 overall season. Absolutely best season in the new era. I want to say this stretch, because we're about to go to 47, the stretch of 45, 46, 47 is the peak of the new era. To me, the new era is almost 3 different eras. We'll see how 50 goes. Don't know yet. But like 41 through 44 is a little mini era. 45, 46, 47 is a little mini era. And 48, 49 is a mini era. I don't know. Yeah, it's a mini era. It happened. Let's talk about, I think the one that we're all looking forward to the most, Q. Flippin' Q
Absolutely.
is back. I love
100%.
Q. I don't care how long he lasts. I hope he wins. I don't think it's likely, but I hope he wins.
I
Well,
hope he
he's
at least makes the
supposedly-
jury because I want more content from him.
I want Q to try to quit 4 times and still win. That's what I want.
He's with Coach.
Q is amazing. Oh, is he? I forget what tribe he's on. If hopefully he doesn't.
It doesn't
interact
matter. He's with
though.
Coach.
He's with Coach.
That's going to be
That's-
so
that's all that I
chaotic.
need.
I can't wait.
I am looking forward to Q because I am interested to see how he interacts with some of the older seasons. Like you guys are saying, like we have to see Q and Coach interact together. It's going to
Or
be
like
amazing. So yeah,
Colby.
his personality is really fun, and I think I don't know, he might make the merge, but I don't see him winning personally.
Is hide and seek anything compared to the time Coach went down the Amazon, told National Geographic, no, you're not coming with me. This one's for me.
Oh my
Gets
gosh.
kidnapped by the locals. The locals tie him up to apparently eat him. They instead want to eat out his butt. He then escapes and kayaks away and then lives to tell the tale. I don't think, I don't know. I think the hide and seek is nothing compared to that. I think Coach will play.
I think that Coach is going to try and tell a story like that, and then Q is going to be like, man, this guy has a lot of crazy life experience. That's a big mistake. It's
Cancel
going to
Christmas.
be great.
Cancel Christmas.
Christmas.
Cancel Christmas. And Coach will be like, in the Amazon, there was no Christmas. He's like, whoa, they actually canceled it there.
A single tear falls down Q's cheek. Just Christmas is always canceled.
Let's move on to Charlie. Charlie got robbed. It was confirmed that if Maria had voted for him and he tied with Kenzie, that Ben breaks the tie. He says it on the On Fire podcast, which is about as official as you can get postseason. Also, I want to point out that after they did those interviews on 46, that Jeff no longer interviewed the final 3 on his podcast. So I wonder if it changed because of this. But anyways, so Charlie, Mr. Taylor Swift himself, I think he's fine. This is somebody that didn't have to be on 50. If they had to cut somebody from 46, he could have been a very easy cut for me. But I think he got that On Fire co-host boost. Seems like every On Fire co-host got to be on the show except for Rachel, and she did sound salty about it on our podcast the other week.
I really like Charlie as a player. I think he was probably the best strategist on this season. So I would like to see him be able to continue doing that. And yeah, I was sad about his loss, even though I do believe that Kinsey deserved it. I thought he played a really great strategic game. So I think he will do pretty well in Survivor 50. I think he has a pretty good chance of winning, honestly, because he's a runner-up, though.
No, I think
like,
his threat level's too high.
You think it's too high? Yeah, he was too close to winning, I guess. But yeah, I think overall, like I said, he's a really good strategist, and I'd be interested to see if he has increased his social game, although his social game wasn't bad. I mean, clearly he made really good friends there as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on him. I think I do agree with Wesley. Like, it wouldn't have broken my heart if he had been cut from 50. He's one of those players that, like, I think he deserves a second chance at winning because, like you said, I believe that Kenzie deserved to win, but I also think Charlie got robbed. Like, I think both of those things happened at the same time. And so, yeah, like, I'm happy that he gets a second chance. I do think it's really important that, like, he needs to, I don't know, like, work on his narrative, I guess is maybe the best way to say it. Like, y'all know I love Taylor Swift. But
what?
He needs to have something different.
You don't.
Like
you don't like Taylor Swift.
I know.
Album,
I
you
know.
said, is
Shocking revelation.
It is.
Well, yeah, I can say that and still have her as my number one favorite artist.
Oh, okay.
But like, I do think that he leaned into that so much in his first season, and I'm sure that was like production, that the way it was edited and everything
during the Eras tour.
But
hype.
my point is, yes. But my point is, for 50. I think he needs to dial that back. Like, he needs to have a different storyline this season. And so I'll be curious to see, like, how he does with sort of that shift. And, like, yeah, if he's still as, I mean, again, like Mary was saying, like, I think he's a good social player. So I think he has the capability to adapt and to do that. But I don't know. I feel kind of mid about him coming back. Like, I think he has potential, but I'm not, like, it wouldn't hurt if he got cut super early. So I don't know, that's kind of my 2 cents. But what do you think, Madison?
I would say honestly I'm pretty similar to you, Rebekah. I would be okay if he wasn't on the season. I'm okay that he is. I think I might be a little more invested in the sense that I would be disappointed if he was cut quickly. I think his story, if I'm going to, keep on the trend of using that language, his story is not finished. And he really was the victim of Maria being angry at him, especially with what we know with Jeff's podcast. So I think he's got a great opportunity to redeem himself. But like you said, Rebekah, he's got to change the narrative on himself into something I think he can better represent if he were to make it at the end. Because, we do have Maria as a big reason he didn't win, but I also think he could have represented himself better. And so I hope he can grow as a player to be able to do that in this new season.
And finally, we have Tiffany. Tiffany, another person, I feel like this is actually the one of the 346 people who I think has the lowest threat level going into 50. And I think in essence has the best shot of winning. Because if you look at the history of people who win all returning seasons, it's usually somebody who, despite how crazy it is to say about like Sandra, for example, like was not a big threat going into Heroes versus Villains, but like every winner of a returning season has been low threat coming out of their last season, like not viewed as a big threat.
Tiff is, I'm with you in terms, I realize I'm agreeing with everyone who speaks before me when we talk about these people who are returning, but
you would be a good on fire co-host then, just agreeing mindlessly with the host.
Yeah, let me just agree with you. No, but Tiff, I would say I really liked her on this season, and for me personally, I think of the 3, I might have been least excited to see her returning because, 46 having 3 returners, that's pretty large. However, that being said, I am still excited for her. I think she's got an opportunity to realistically win.
Yeah, and to me, I think it's interesting because, like, I feel like out of these 3 people, Tiffany has the most untapped potential, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like her story was, like, cut short more than the others. So, like, to me, I'm actually probably more excited to see her come back than Charlie, personally. Just because, I think, like you were saying, Wesley, like, she's going to come in really under the radar. But then also, like you were saying, Madison, like, she's solid in challenges. Like, she is able to handle the social side of things. So I'm hoping that she can make it to the end. Like, honestly, out of all the new era people who are returning, I think she has one of the best shots at actually winning 50. So I'll be really curious to see, like how she ends up playing, how her strategy evolves and everything. But I'm excited to see her come back and see, I don't know, more of her potential, I guess.
Same. I agree with you all. I think obviously she was the one to go earliest out of the out of this season's returnings. So she does have more game to play, and I do think that she was a really good player. I think she was fun to watch. She, from what I remember, did make a lot of the strategic decisions. Like her and Kinsey both, it felt like an equal partnership. It wasn't just one person running the show. So I think she has a good shot. Yeah.
Survivor 47 is next. This season, it has a plethora of characters that I like. Rome, huge villain. I know, very divisive. That's what I look for. People, we've asked him on the podcast. He asked to come on our podcast. People are like, Rome, but like, I like Rome. What a villain. What a villain. I like a good villain. Rachel, of course, iconic. What about Genevieve? Sue, who's just a 45-year-old pilot. Don't ask any questions about that. I'm sure there's other people I'm forgetting. Andy has a whole meltdown and then proceeds to have like the biggest move of the season with Operation Italy that he pushes. Andy, what a turnaround for him to go from what he did in the beginning to the end. Was there somebody else I was thinking of this? Who else?
Genevieve.
I said Genevieve. Genevieve's coming back for 50.
Did you?
And I am a bit worried that Genevieve's going to have somewhat of a threat on her back because she ended 47 on a high, even though she went out where she went out. Like, I think she ended on a high. I feel like her story had a turnaround that ended well, and I think it's going to put a target on her back for 50. But overall, 47, what a great season. And they did away with the required sob stories for everybody. And like, what a difference it made. What a difference. Sam pretends not to know what fruit is. Teeny's upset that Sam probably got asked to pick up the chairs in class and move them. Ugh, the drama. Rebekah, what did you think about 47?
Oh, man. This is, I mean, I guess spoilers, but this is probably my favorite season from the new era. I love Rachel as a winner. Just the rice thief moment stands out as like just such an iconic moment in the new era of Survivor. Also, some great strategy happened in this season, like when Rachel played her shot in the dark to gauge reactions to see if she should play her idol. To me, in my opinion, that is like the best use of the shot in the dark that we've seen so far, because obviously like it wasn't really necessary, but like it's still just like the way that she was able to introduce a new way to play this new advantage, I thought was really cool and really just showed like her strength as a winner. Like she had strength on the social side of things, but also strategy. She was like just using the tools available to her in new ways that we hadn't seen before. So I'm a big fan of this season. Even the journeys felt better this season. Like I remember specifically, again, the one where Rachel's like almost ripped into the ocean. Like that was hilarious. I don't think she was actually that close to getting pulled in, but it was pretty funny.
Was iconic.
It was iconic. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to me, this season is very memorable. There were just a lot of good players. Like I did really enjoy watching Genevieve play. I'm excited to see her come back for 50. Andy, he brings just the right amount of chaos, I think, to this season. So it's like entertaining, but he also, the Operation Italy stuff, it's like, okay, he also has some strategy. Like that's cool. So I'm a big fan of this season. Oh, also when Sue like gets covered in that red paint and they're like, is that blood? Like, there's just so many memorable moments from this season. So I love this season. But yeah, what do you think about it, Mary?
I totally agree with you. I think this is, for me, again, I think it's a better balance of the character and the chaos and the fun part of Survivor, as well as there's a lot of strategy also happening. So we have fun characters who are playing the game, but they're also smart about it. So I do also enjoy this one a lot. It's pretty high up in my rankings. I think Rachel is a really, really good winner. I've said this. I think I said it almost every podcast when we were podcasting this season. It's like she plays a game that I would play. And so therefore I enjoy watching her play because I get it. You know, some other winners, I don't really get their strategy or don't understand how they're playing because that's not me. But I get Rachel and her game, and I think it's a really fun game for me to watch, and therefore I enjoy it. I really like Sam and Sierra. Their whole dynamic, the whole season was really good. Kyle, it was a character I liked and kind of related to as well. Caroline, she was really fun. I don't think she really emerged until a little bit later, like after the merge, but I thought she was a really good player.
This is the season, Mary, where we realized you're Rachel, Rebekah's Genevieve, and I'm Rome.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all we all identified with somebody from this season. So I agree. I think it was a really well balanced one. I like the winner. I like the strategy that happens. I like some of the drama that happens. So this is another one for me that would be good for a new person to watch to get introduced to modern Survivor, because overall it's just a really well balanced season.
The moment where Rachel has to cut the idol off of the like shelter while everyone is in the shelter, like to get that idol. That was so funny. And that to me is like, again, it's just a better version of like things that they've done in the past. Like in the past, they put the Beware Advantage in the fire pit or like right next to it. That's boring. But like having her like actually cut it out of the shelter while everyone is there, that was really fun and exciting. So anyway, I just wanted to add that. But.
And this season brought back the auction, and the auction was improved from 45. 45 is kind of a mess of an auction. This wasn't one that was improved, though, and it led to what you were talking about, Rebekah, with the idol being cut out of the shelter, because that's where she wins it. While Genevieve's winning chocolate, we get a monologue from Rachel. Is like, I found this in my fries, and I hope nobody saw it, and all that good stuff. The auction, for once, they just hid the advantage in a food item, which is what we had been saying. And Jeff's like, I'm not listening to you all, and then proceeds to do the thing we all were saying. So I don't know, just funny.
Yeah, and it was great. Made for great TV.
Well, my opinion on 47, I think, is skewed because I have it lower than you all, and that's not the fault of the season. I know. Had a bit of a life situation going on during that season, so I was very behind for quite some time, missed a few episodes here and there. However, to give credit where it's due, because this is at the top of my rewatch list, because I think it deserves more credit and more time and attention from me, I always liked Rachel, and I do enjoy an underdog winner. And so as you guys are talking about these varying instances with her and all these epic moments, I do agree that they were. I just think I wasn't able to watch the season properly at the time. I do recall liking Genevieve a lot. I am very glad to see her back. I really appreciate, through the season where Genevieve has this evolution of, she's not there to make friends. She's there to win the game, et cetera, et cetera. And then she starts to have this kind of self-reflection of how that is affecting her and how her game changes. And then it's all cut short. And, that leads to Rachel's victory, which I enjoyed. So I'm grateful she's going to get another chance. But again, this is a season that needs a rewatch from me. So I don't think I can give too many cons or critiques on it for that reason. And I think it's ranked too low, but it was a good season. That is how I would wrap up.
Where do you have it ranked, Madison?
So I have it ranked at 7. But again, I don't think that's the fault of the season.
I have it ranked at 2nd. What about you, Mary?
Yeah, number 2.
Rebekah?
Oh, yeah, I have it at number 1.
So 47 is still overall number 2. Madison didn't hurt it too much. But Madison, if you rewatch it and you put it higher, it could end up being the number 1 season. It really could. We'll see.
Hey, it could. We'll see what happens.
It could be. But it's our number 2 overall season. Okay, let's move on to Survivor 48. This is the season Madison joined us kind of part-time. She joined us. This is her first season. Rebekah joined us during 43, Madison 48. Mary and I started this podcast with 39, though we were part-timers during 39, 40. It wasn't an every week thing by any means. So Madison joined us this season. It did have, I feel like 48, it wasn't, in my opinion, a very good season, but it did have characters I remember. David and his nipples and his milk, love for milk. We had Joe and Eva. As much as it was shoved into our face, it was something different. It was unique. They were the 2nd and 3rd place players. Who knew Eva would get 2nd? Really. Kyle and Camille's secret alliance. I don't know if you heard, but they're in a secret alliance. They only told us, I counted it 35 times. And I could have missed.
Unbelievable.
That's when I double checked. I didn't triple check. I only double checked. So who knows if I triple checked, there's more than the 35 times I counted that they told us that they're in a secret alliance. And Kyle had 92 confessionals. And I'm like, 35 of these, though, were about your secret alliance. Anyways. So, yeah, Kyle, a good winner, a solid winner. Definitely, this is the other season I got tricked on who I thought was going to win. I thought it was going to be Joe. I should have listened to the Zero Confessional episode that he had. I didn't. I was like, they Emmy nominated this episode. It's the episode where him and Eva are hugging, and they like re-aired it, which they never do with Survivor episodes. They re-aired it on like a Friday or Saturday or whatever that week. It was like a huge deal. I'm like, Zero Confessionals. Why does it matter? Apparently it did. So learn my lesson. 48 though, just honestly, just it was the gameplay and like become very predictable, very fast. Reminded me of 48 in that sense. Like has some memorable characters, but overall a bit dry in terms of the strategy and everything. And it was like people were like, David's insane, but like David was like saying the only rational thing there. I forgot what he was talking about. I just remember David being right and his muscles were huge. So Mary, what did you think about 48?
Okay, I slightly disagree with you as far as you think that it was predictable, because both you and I didn't know who the winner was going to be, and I know that was just because of what we were guessing into the edit. So my take on this is that it's another really well balanced season of good characters, fun, dramatic moments, but also some pretty good strategy. Now, the one negative, and I hate to say negative, but I do feel like Joe and Eva's emotional stories kind of overpowered some of the other things happening. And it was a good story. Like, I love Joe and Eva. That episode, I cried. I legitimately cried, and I hardly ever cry about stuff. But anyways.
The other time you cried that season was when Mitch made his big move.
Did I?
Yeah, when Mitch made his big move, you cried.
I don't remember that, but
neither does Mitch.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, I was really
gosh, Wesley.
Anyways, so I do think that maybe they leaned in a little bit too much on the emotions of Joe and Eva, and backed away from some of the really good gameplay that was happening from Kyle and Camilla. I do think that they had really good strategy. Like, they were kind of underdogs for a long time, even though, I feel like there's good strategy, good characters, and a fairly good balance, although maybe not quite as balanced, in my opinion, as 47. So overall, still a pretty good season.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, honestly, this season felt pretty mid, I think is just kind of the best way I could describe it. Like, there wasn't a lot of high highs. There weren't a ton of low lows, though, either. So it's like I don't have a ton to, gripe about. I think my biggest problem with it is honestly maybe the edit, because to me, despite the confessional count, it felt like Kyle was the third wheel in his own season. Kind of like you were talking about, they leaned so hard into the Joe and Eva stuff that even though Kyle was present the whole time, I know that, he had confessionals consistently
he had 90
throughout.
plus.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy, but just my impression watching the season, I didn't feel like he was such a present character because it was all about Joe and Eva. And again, that stuff was great. There was a lot of good things in there, but to get to the end and be like, wow, Kyle was, again, third wheel, that was just kind of the term that I kept using, where it's he was talking during Tribal one time and the show muted him and focused on what Joe was thinking, you know, and it's that's kind of a crazy thing to do to the winner.
The show loved Joe, just for him to get third.
Yes, the show loved Joe, and he's a great guy, for sure. I get it, but also, yeah, I felt like Camilla was a really solid player. I am really excited to see her come back for 50. Kyle and Joe, I don't know, I could do without them being on 50, but Camilla, I'm okay, she has a lot of untapped potential. But
I agree. I don't think Joe or Kyle have anything new to give me on 50. I'm with you. Camilla's the only one I want back.
They don't.
The more I think about it, I don't know if I said that before, but that's where I'm standing at now.
Yeah. And even I felt also the show showed us a couple instances of Kyle in 48 being not the best socially or strategically. I remember that scene where David's talking about how he lives in a trailer in front of his dad's house, and Kyle's that's awesome. And David's no, it sucks.
It's not. David's I'm
I
38
hate it.
years
My
old.
girlfriend's going to break up with me.
My girlfriend's going to break
And
up with me
Kyle's
and I don't win $1
oh.
million.
Again, to me, that's the type of thing that's why was that in the show? It just makes Kyle look bad. So I don't know.
I like it, though.
I think to me, again, Kyle deserved his win. Anyone who wins Survivor deserves to win, but it just wasn't my favorite season. So it was pretty mid for me.
Considering the lengths they go to on 49 to cover up Christina and everything we've heard Christina's been doing, that's secret scenes and stuff, them not to cover up Kyle's stuff, it's what?
It's
I know it's
crazy.
a different season, but it's the same show a season later. What? Christina gets all of her huge mishaps covered up, then Kyle nope, gotta leave him in the show. It's whatever, he won. He got the $1 million. Madison, what do you think?
Yeah, 48 is a pretty mid-tier season for all of the above reasons. I did like Kyle, and I remember early on in the season, which, newcomer me, I ranked him really high, and I think fairly people did not understand why I did that. And I'm not saying that to brag that I picked the winner, but more so to say that.
Mary had Rachel episode 147.
Yeah. Go for it.
No. I just think, though, the reason I say that is that the show didn't do him justice. He was the third wheel on his own season of winning. And again, as everyone has stated, Joe and Eva and their dynamic, that's not a bad thing. But there was a lot of untapped potential on this show. David and Mary. I would have loved to see that dynamic a bit more because they both were such great characters.
Mitch
and I think I I look for things that are, maybe more old school Survivor, where people are willing to really play and make moves, and you might hurt feelings, but that's part of it because it's a game. And so there were aspects like that had me probably more hopeful in the first half of the season. And then it just kind of slumped for me as it kept going. I remember feeling a little bored, and I don't like to feel that way about TV. But, with these 3 people who are coming back for 50, I'm not really super excited for any of them. If I had to pick, I'd be excited about Camilla because, like you guys have said, there's more left to what she's going to do. And she was a great strategic player, I feel like. In this season, I felt like she was kind of the brains between her and Kyle. Not to discredit Kyle. Yeah. I think he did a lot, but she came up with a lot of strategies. So I'm excited for that, I guess. But honestly, I could have done without anyone on this season returning.
What if Camilla and Joe have a secret alliance this time instead of Camilla and Kyle? Plot twist.
Plot twist. I like it.
That would be wild.
She's like, me and Joe are secretly aligned. Nobody will suspect a thing.
What if she has a secret alliance with everybody?
Ooh. What if she has who would be the best person for her to have a secret alliance with? Like, who would be the most entertaining? That's the question.
Coach.
Actually,
Coach would be wild.
Coach would be. All right. So for 48, I have it ranked.
He would take it so seriously.
He would.
That's true.
He would. I have it ranked 5th overall. Mary, where do you have it?
I have it ranked 3rd.
Okay. Madison, where do you have 48 ranked?
I have 48 ranked as number 5.
And Rebekah?
I also have it ranked as number 5.
Dang, Mary, you've dragged it up because we were all trying to keep it around 5. So 48 ends up being our 4th overall season. I think it should be 1 spot lower. I think 45 should be above it, but that's my personal taste. So 48 somehow above 45. Craziness to me, considering I think 45, 46, 47 are a trio of good seasons, whereas 48 not as good. But hey, that's what happens when we all rank together. I'll talk to you all later about this decision you made. All right, let's move on to the newest season, the latest season as of the time of this podcast. Therefore, there's probably going to be bias. And by that, I mean recency bias, good or bad. And I think for me, it'll probably be bad. I'm sure for a couple of you, maybe it'll be good. We'll see. So 49's the most recent season. It's about to finish up with the finale here, though I think we all know where it's headed. It'd be very shocking to see anything else. I'm going to predict that Savannah's going to win because Survivor 50 spoiled it. If she doesn't, then what a surprise. But at the moment, that's what it looks like it's headed. So we're going to talk as if that's where it's headed because I think we're all on the same page about that. So 49. We go into it, and it's basically been overshadowed because during 50, during 48, they announced that 50 is going to happen. And then all anybody cared about was that we're voting on what's happening on 50. So it made 48, we had that element every week where it's like, we're voting on what's going to happen on 50. Like, we weren't even thinking about 49. Who cares about 49? We're voting on 50. And then at the end of 48, before 49 happens, they announced the cast. So for like months, people are talking about the cast of 50. And then one day they dropped the cast of 49, and we're like, okay, yep, there's the California, New Yorkers. Okay. Yeah, but like, what about 50? And then we find out that 2 of these people on 49 are on 50, and it's Riz God and Savannah. We're like, that kid's named himself Riz God on purpose? So we all season 49's been
No, that's
tainted.
on his birth certificate, I think. I think it's on his birth certificate, yeah.
It's all season we're just like thinking about these 2, and the fact that the leaked tribe divisions, which Survivor knew was going to happen because it happens every single time, basically gave away because of the way they cast 50 is like, I am looking forward to the Riz God being back. If we had to bring winners back, which I don't think we did, but if we had to bring winners back, I guess Savannah is the winner of the 3 that they're bringing back. I'm most looking forward to. Though Marianne theorized, or whatever the word is, that she was cut for Savannah. I don't know how she knows that for a fact, but she knows it. So I think Marianne would have been more interesting for me to have brought back instead of Dee or Kyle, but we can't have everything we want. She was cut for Savannah, is what she said. So it's like another, what's it? Another brick in the wall of more proof of Savannah probably going to win this thing. So 49, I think 49 kind of falls in 48, except for me, there's less memorable characters this season. I think a lot of frustrating gameplay this season, and it just led me to be down on the season overall. Like, I entered the season like, okay, it's probably gonna be overshadowed, but like, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Before 38, Edge of Extinction, people were hyped for Edge of Extinction. They were like, whoa, they're bringing back Aubrey. They're bringing back, well, I don't think anybody was real excited about Joe. They're bringing back Joe. They're bringing back David. They're bringing back Kelly Wentworth. People are looking forward to Edge of Extinction. David vs. Goliath is being overlooked. And now look at it now. David vs. Goliath is the beloved season. People are genuinely surprised. And so ever since then, I've been like looking forward to another season being overshadowed by us fans, but then being a surprise hit. And it hasn't really happened. It hasn't happened since then. Island of the Idols, the less we say, the better. That one was overshadowed, and it just needed to just be shadowed. It never needed to be seen, but it did. So this is the next season, since Island of the Idols and it's not Island of the Idols bad, but it's also not going to outshine 50. I can't see this outshining 50 in any way. So for me, 49, disappointment. Maybe in a couple years I'll rewatch it and have a different opinion. I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I was a little too harsh on it. I could see that because I'm so frustrated by the lack of good gameplay. And the lack of good gameplay could be forgiven if we have good characters. But for the most part, characters are being carried by like 2 people, 3 people, you know? I mean, that's my opinion. What do you think, Rebekah?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I feel like this season was, I don't know, I guess a bit of a disappointment. Like, okay, when Jeff said to everyone, I forget what episode it was, but he's like, hey, there's spots on 50 open.
That was at the
like,
merge tour.
Y'all need to...
Or the merge.
Yes. He's like, y'all need to basically play like, you know, you're trying to get a shot on 50.
Step it up.
Like, that like flipped a switch in Rizgod, and like he has done a lot to carry this season for me, and probably has a lot to do with why it's ranked as high as it is for me, which is even still like not that high. But yeah, I think it's like, I think the word I would use to describe this season is boring, and that's like the worst word I think that you can use to describe a season of Survivor. It's just, yeah, no one's doing anything. Everyone's sitting on their hands. There's so much wasted potential. I mean, I had such high hopes for Sophie B early in the season. And then, man, did she just like sit on her hands. And now, granted, led to a hilarious moment where she tried to play her knowledge as power. Like, that was really funny. But it's still like, okay, but still like no one's using good strategy in this game.
Outside of Rizgod faking his idol for like 5 tribal councils. Right.
Yes.
Most interesting gameplay.
He is. I mean, yeah, he is living up to the name that he gave himself. So I am very excited to see him come back for 50. I am excited to see Savannah come back, although I really want her to amp up her villainy. Like, I need her to like just be 10 times as villainous in season 50. I think that would just be like a lot more entertaining. So yeah, this season overall, it's kind of mid for me. I don't think I would really like recommend it to people to, you know, get a good idea of what Survivor is, because it's just a lot of like, I don't know, people sitting on their hands and not doing anything. So yeah, that's my opinion.
I definitely have a different opinion, and I could be a victim of recency bias here, but I have enjoyed 49. So what I said earlier about enjoying a disaster tribe when I feel like there's comedy, the disaster tribe of 49 is the merged tribe. So like the latter half is a bit of a disaster. And I'm okay with that. You know, you do have a couple of people who I feel like are steamrolling the game. And for me, what's honestly been entertaining is seeing the repeated buildup of people having plans for how they can do something about it, and then they just don't do anything about it. And for me, that genuinely has been entertaining. I feel like there is a memorable cast. There's memorable moments. I have enjoyed Sophie, even though I am a little disappointed with where she's gone. At the same time, I've been entertained by her journey. Savannah as a player... Oh, Shannon. See, I mean, Shannon, there was a lot happening with Shannon to start. There was a lot to unpack. And honestly, out of Shannon, we received Sage, I think. And that's a gift. I have enjoyed Sage. There's a lot of people that I really like on the season. But about Savannah, though, she's, to me, new era villain, which really isn't that villainous comparatively when you go back in time to, say, Russell Hantz or whoever else, you know. So I'm excited to see if she'll lean into that more whenever she comes back. Rizgod, I would put him maybe as a more strategic version of Q, right? Like, he's been very entertaining. He's been very funny, but he's also making it really far and doing really well. And so he's got a good mix of both of those things. So to me, this is an entertaining season. I appreciate the fact that I'm getting sucked into the episodes, and I've mentioned this before with Wesley. I can turn my brain off and just have fun, and then afterwards I'm going to think critically about what's happened. I like that in a season.
I am with you, Madison, as far as I'm enjoying this season as well. Probably more than I thought I was going to after like the merge. I mean, after the merge, I think it picked up for me a little bit. I think that Rizzo and Savannah they have been actually on the bottom for a lot, and it doesn't seem like it because they're so confident. Like, technically last night they were on the bottom, they were on the outs, they didn't have the numbers technically, but they still made it through because of the Riz. And so I'm enjoying Rizzo immensely. I think that he does have a really, really good strategy that we're not seeing a lot of, maybe as much of. I think he's getting undercut by his own humor and confidence and craziness. So I do think that there are some definitely boring moments, and that it seems so obvious that it's Savannah who's going to win, and so therefore it seems predictable and it's not as fun. But overall, I am still enjoying it. I think the watchability, especially with some space afterwards, is pretty good, in my opinion, strictly for the Riz God. For Sage is awesome, even though her strategy sucks. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. And again, that could be recency, but I think it's pretty good. Also, yeah, Rizzo is on the same tribe as Q, well, suspected, as with Q and Kyle and Colby. Who else is on here? Aubrey, Genevieve.
The disaster tribe.
Yeah, it's possible that it'll be the disaster tribe. It's a bunch of characters for sure.
Okay, so for me, I have 49 ranked at number 7. Where do you have it, Mary?
I have it at 4.
Rebekah?
I have it at number 6.
Madison?
I'm feeling bold here, but I have it at number 2.
Oh, you're the reason it got ranked and tied. It's tied with 45, but I'm
You're
putting 45
welcome.
above it as a tiebreaker.
Me and Madison have to be here to give those outlying opinions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Proud of it.
You guys would be bad on fire co-hosts then. You need to mindlessly agree with the host, okay? You want to get on the propaganda podcast.
Well, listen, we don't want to be on the On Fire podcast. We want to be on the Once Upon an Island podcast.
Right, exactly.
Because it's number 2.
I think Jeff pays better. It is only a 1-season gig, but I think he pays better.
Probably.
Yeah, but this is the number 1 season in people's hearts. So, or the number 1 show.
This is
I messed
Bonnie's
it up. It's the number 1 show in
podcast.
people's hearts.
Yeah, it's the Bonnie podcast. We're all trying to win 1 million hearts out here. Well, hey, we have
Yes.
ranked every New Era season. I want to thank you all for listening this year. This is our last podcast for 2025. For 2026, we are going to podcast The Trader Season 4. We might, depending on how it pans out, podcast, I'm assuming, the 1 episode of the Beast Games that's going to do a crossover with Survivor. It looks like they're going to do an episode of Survivor on the Beast Games. I could be wrong. We'll see. That's up in the air. And of course, we're going to have, I think, a few preseason podcasts for 50 covering a variety of topics. And of course, we're going to podcast 50. So look forward to that. As always, if you want to support this podcast and this channel, you can listen to everything early and ad free. Pick what we make on Patreon. We do appreciate it. That's why we don't have sponsors in these podcasts, because we don't have to accept any sponsors. And if we do, it's only because we vetted them really well. We are not pushing garbage onto you every week, if you notice that. So we really appreciate your guys' patronage.
Or because it's a bit like when Liz sponsored us.
Which was a $0, and I was very clear on that one.
Yeah.
It was a $0.
Yeah, that was really
advertisement.
good.
That was
Yeah.
just for funsies. That was the ultimate payoff that season to that joke.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, we thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next year. Bye.
Bye.